So let me think now. I'm going to hand over to Mr. Wolfgang Wildgrace here and see what he wants to say about it, because he's one of the blokes that's cajoled and provoked and give me a bit of a kick up the bum and a hug whenever I've needed it, as this fella and has all the fellas on this log here and a couple that are off screen. So
here we go.
What does men's work mean to me? Well, I suppose I'd never heard of men's work for a very long time. And growing up in a large family with 7 boys and 2 girls, and in a very rough, violent neighbourhood, and learning from an early age that if all else fails, violence will solve the situation. So, stumbling my way through life with very low self-esteem and a very low opinion of myself, the only place that I ever felt that I was of any significance in the world was when playing sport. So through many ordeals, I found myself marrying a woman that was seemed to be way beyond me in maturity, in self-development. She was studying psychology. I was studying drinking piss and smoking pot and still fighting. And having gone through my own, I suppose, spiritual, personal crisis, awakening, and having developed post-traumatic stress disorder, suicidal tendencies, my wife was challenging me to stand up, to grow up, in her words, to grow up and be a man, which was all well and good. So I just yelled louder, and that didn't work either. So I was very distressed. All I knew that the feminine was wanting me to be a man, but I didn't know how. And she recommended to me, she heard on a radio interview men talking about this men's gathering. And she was very excited. She said, "I think you should go." So I did. It was quite a challenge to get there, and upon standing in the circle of 70 or 80 men for the first time, I stood there, it took my turn to speak, and when I could actually speak, all I could say was, I'm not alone. It was the first time in my life that I'd realised that I'm not alone in this struggle, this distress, this grief. So my men's work, for me, and I've witnessed and held space for many other men, is it seems to be that it's a place of grieving in the early phases. Grieving about realising that I didn't have the dad that I wanted. I didn't get what I felt I needed or I wanted, and I got lots of things that I didn't want. And then learning skills from other men about what does manhood mean, how to become a better man. And for me, that really was my driving force. Was I want to be the best man I possibly can be. I don't know how to do that. I know that that being involved in a men's movement and doing men's groups and men's work per se is going to be a vehicle that I hope can get me there. And I realised that one aspect of men's work for me is to lead in my relationship. My relationship is like any dance class that I would ever go to. Is my life before men's work was that I always wanted the woman to be the leader in the dancing, and realizing that I have to learn how to be the leader, because the man always leads in the dance. So that's been a very long journey. It's probably close to 20 years now. And one of the illusions that I had about men's work was that men's work is all about men being together. And that's where the men's work takes place, and that's how it's done. So certainly for me there's a component to that, which is being amongst other men and being supported to grow from older men, and also to support younger men. So for me, the most important thing about men's work for me is, how am I with my woman? How am I with my children? Because it's easy for me to come and be around men and to do this sort of thing, and to learn to present the Wolfgang that learns how to get acceptance and approval from ways of behaviour amongst men. However, the challenge for me was how to take men's work home to my family, to my daughters and to my wife, and be that man there. Because it was all well and good for me to be this man in men's work over here, but at home I wasn't that man. And for me that is another aspect and a challenge to men's work and what it means to me. So I measure my men's work not amongst other men, I measure it amongst my family. So I have an open door policy with my family, is that if anybody wants to know really the truth about my men's work, is actually to ask my wife, is to actually ask my daughters. They will give the authentic truth of how my men's work is. And my men's work is when I'm grumpy, when I'm sad, when I'm angry, I'm frustrated, I've had a big day and I don't want to deal with shit. That's why I come, I learn the skills and do everything I possibly can, because where my men's work has to turn up and be all the time is there in those places in my family. And that's my men's work and my journey. And to reiterate, it won't stop till my last breath. Thank you.